starts right now.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 250 plus markets across the United States of America. Check your AM, FM listing nearest you. Plus, ESPN 630 in the nation's capital. They joined the show this week. They joined the family. They're carrying this show, the Stephen A. Smith Show, live in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Plus, you can hear me on SiriusXM, Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio, simulcast live over the national television airways of ESPN News. Number to call up, as always, is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by mycomputercareer.edu. Training for a better life. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Got a lot of stuff to get into today. Obviously, NBA free agency is percolating. There is no doubt about that. A lot of stuff. Most of the things have happened. You know the stories. KD and Kyrie have elected to join the Brooklyn Nets. Klay Thompson is going to stay in Golden State. Jimmy Butler, a sign and trade deal has taken place that has put him in the Miami Heat with the Miami Heat. Tobias Harris has re-signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, 5 years, $180 million. Guys like J.J. Redick departed from Philadelphia to head to the New Orleans Pelicans and joined Zion Williamson and the crew. You have Boogie Cousins, who still does not have a team as of yet. You've got guys like Malcolm Brogdon, who was traded to the Indiana Pacers. Ultimately got himself a 4-year, $85 million deal. It's going to be real interesting. Indiana could be a team to watch because you got Victor Oladipo coming back eventually, and you put him in a lineup with Malcolm Brogdon, who's not going to be a reserve, will probably be a starter since they're paying him over $20 million a year now. So it's going to be real interesting to see what transpires where he's concerned. And everybody and their grandmother is waiting to see what Kawhi Leonard does. Kawhi Leonard was in the Barbados. Kawhi Leonard has promised the Toronto Raptors that indeed he will give them the very last meeting before he makes his official decision as to whether or not he will stay in Toronto with the reigning defending NBA champions, who he got into a championship and where he captured an NBA Finals MVP. Yet again, two-time NBA Finals champion, two-time NBA Finals MVP. That is Kawhi Leonard. He will make a decision as to whether or not he's going to remain with Toronto or he's going to depart for one of the LA teams, whether it be the Clippers or the Lakers. His decision is expected sometime this week. We have no idea when. We have no idea what he is going to do. I don't think there's ever been a situation or a time where you can have the number of NBA insiders, the number of people covering this league who are all virtually clueless as to what this man is going to do. We have heard that the Lakers are the team that that has the edge as we speak. But the Los Angeles Clippers say, wait a damn minute now. Don't rule us out. Here we come. We've got better ownership. We've got the front office executive extraordinaire. That's the right-hand man of Steve Ballmer and Jerry West. We've got a Hall of Fame coach in Doc Rivers. We've got a first-class organization, medical staff. We plan on upgrading our facilities and, having a new arena in the next few years, evolving this entire franchise completely and totally around Kawhi Leonard. And so you have that if you're the Clippers pitch. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you know what your pitch is? We're the Lakers. That's it. We're the Lakers. And I know we haven't made the playoffs the last 6 years, but the brand that is the Los Angeles Lakers, who we are and what we bring to the table. And the fact that we have LeBron James and the fact that we have Anthony Davis, we're already a title contender based on them alone, and we don't even have a roster filled out yet. Oh, by the way, Andre Iguodala was moved from Golden State to Memphis, and by the way, he's expected to take a buyout so he can go anywhere he wants, and the likelihood is that he's going to end up in LA because his former agent happens to be the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers, which is Rob Pelinka. Assuming all of that happens. So you got LeBron, you got AD, you got Kyle Kuzma, you might have Andre Iguodala. So clearly your defense has been upgraded significantly, your offense has been upgraded significantly, your personnel has been upgraded significantly. When you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, here's the bottom line. You're lucky. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss to be excoriated the way they were about 3 weeks to a month ago, when Magic Johnson came on national television and said that he felt betrayed by Rob Pelinka. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you that Rob Pelinka is not stupid. Rob Pelinka is knowledgeable about the game of basketball. Rob Pelinka is competent. Rob Pelinka was damn well better than competent as an agent. And I'm going to tell you that Jeannie Buss, one of the nicest human beings you could ever meet in your life, who loves her Lakers, pulled the trigger on a few things and was a bit more assertive over the last few weeks. And as a result, now you find yourself in a situation where we no longer are laughing at the Lakers or crying, depending on who you are, because damn it, I'm miserable when the Lakers are miserable. I'm here to tell you something right now. I'm going to call it like I see it. And when they deserve criticism, I'm going to give it to them. But make no mistake about it, I don't root against the Lakers. Because to root against the Lakers is to root against Southern California. It's to root against the Staples Center. And that I am absolutely, positively allergic to doing. I love the Staples Center, especially when the Lakers are playing there. I love Southern California, especially when the NBA season is ongoing. Make no mistake about it. And me personally, I'm one of those guys who believes firmly that Steve Ballmer should get his own arena and should move outside of the Staples Center and get his own home. I mean, if you go to a game for the Lakers and then you go to a game for the Clippers, it's like a high school environment compared to the pro environment because the lights are just different. The lighting inside the Staples Center, it just reeks of star-studded allure. And then you look at the Clippers and it's like a high school gymnasium. Same arena, same amount of seats, sold out, people are watching. Better basketball over the last several years, doesn't matter. The Lakers are the Lakers in LA. They are in no danger of suffering from the plight that the New York Knicks presently have at its doorstep. And that is the stepchild of basketball in your town, which is the Brooklyn Nets, have now taken over New York. 2 stars, 2 champions, picked Brooklyn over Broadway. 2 stars, 2 champions, said those bright lights and the world's famous arena can kiss my you-know-what. And they went to the Barclays Center. That is what happened. New York Knicks are not worse today than they were Sunday. They're not a worse team. There's no evidence that Steve Mills and Scott Perry and David Fizdale don't know what they're doing. That's not what this is about. What it is about is that evidently the allure that was once in the possession of the New York Knicks is no more. It now belongs to Brooklyn. Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Yeah, we know where they at now. I mean, it's so damn obvious. You even know where the pizza shops are off Atlantic Avenue now. It's a new day in New York. But guess what? Even if Kawhi Leonard ends up going to the Clippers, it still ain't a new day in LA because they got LeBron and AD. And that is what this comes down to. Me personally, I would rather Kawhi go to the Clippers than the Lakers only because I love competition. And I detest the fact that cats team up with one another, join one another, and so dramatically shifting the balance of power that there's no reason to even pay attention to competition during the regular season because it's just that lopsided. I want stars competing against each other. You know, one of the things that had me so excited about the playoffs? The fact that there was a first round match between Oklahoma City and Portland. Because guess what? Russell Westbrook is undeniably a star, but so is Damian Lillard. And to watch those two brothers going at each other, that's what you live for right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you live for. And oh my Lord, you just crave for the days where that just returns. Let me tell you something. I thought it was a weak move when KD went to Golden State, but I got to tell you, when I pulled off the reins, and it wasn't just because his mama is just the most adorable woman in the world and, was like, be nice. Thought I was too harsh. And damn it, she was right. Because I love me some Mama Durant. She is a special woman. But I got to tell you something. I got to give KD what credit is due in this regard. Because when he went to the finals and went up against LeBron, it was like, all right, you had your crew, I got mine now. Let's go. And LeBron averaged a triple-double and averaged over 30. But KD averaged 35 and 8. It wasn't like he went along for the ride. That brother was like, let's go. Open and tap. He was guarding LeBron. That's what you want to see? When Portland went up against Chicago, Jordan was like, Drexler, here I am. Here I am. Let's go. This is what you want to see. When Bird and Matt and Dr. J went up against one another, and Dr. J punched him in the face in midcourt. That's what you want to see. Maybe not necessarily the punching in the face, but you want to see mano a mano. You want to see cats going up against one another. Here's what you want to look for. You don't want them joined together. When Dwayne Wade sat up there and accidentally, or whatever you want to call it, hit Kobe in an all-star game. And Kobe had to wear a damn mask. And people were talking about Kobe and D Wade. What did they do? The next game after the All-Star break years ago, Miami and D Wade and LeBron and those boys showed up at the Staples Center. And you saw Kobe and D Wade guarding each other and going at it. Two of the greatest guards in the history of basketball. This is what you want to see. This is what you live for. And I want to see Kawhi versus LeBron. I'm not going to be mad if they Lakers together because, I mean, damn it, that's the bright lights. That's Tinseltown. That's the Staples Center. That's the Lakers being prohibitive favorites to come out of the West and represent the Western Conference in the finals and probably win a championship with those big three. Yeah, there's nothing bad about that. But a better scenario is LeBron and AD beating Kawhi and the Clippers to pull that off. Do I want Kawhi in Toronto? Hell no. I appreciate the NBA globalizing its brand. I appreciate a champion being in the country of Canada and the wonderful, marvelous city of Toronto. I appreciate all that. I truly do. I truly do. But I got to tell you something. We ain't really mentioned Toronto since. Anybody think about Toronto? Anybody think about Canada? That's hockey world. Nobody give a damn about that. What they care about is teams right here in this country. Yeah, it's patriotic. Yeah, it's shunning other nations. So what? Get over it. We ain't here to hug one another and sing Kumbaya. We're going to call it like it is. I want to thank once again all those folks in customs in Canada on the U.S. side, especially as we coming back home. They were very good to me. I'll never forget those dudes as long as I live. They could not have been nicer and more hospitable and more supportive and helping me get across the border and come back in and all of that other stuff. It was far less cumbersome than I anticipated. They even helped me get my global entry card. It's official, y'all. I got my global entry card right now, John. I got global entry. I got the card and everything. I'm good. I'm good. Nexus is next. In case I want to go into Toronto. Because even though I've heard about Toronto, I've heard the city of Montreal is absolutely fabulous. Can't ignore that. Can't ignore that. But I digress. The point is, you might want to go to Toronto or Montreal, a party, to witness the city being the gorgeous mosaic it is. All of those things may be ultra important to you and it might matter, but when it comes to basketball, all right, you had your day in the sun, you won a championship, congratulations. But you ain't thinking about Toronto. You know what you're thinking about now? Philly, Boston, to a lesser degree, Milwaukee may have gotten worse. That's what you're thinking about. And you're thinking about the Western Conference. Damian Lillard re-upping for Supermax deal. Congrats again to the Goodwin brothers, particularly Aaron Goodwin. I say the Goodwin brothers, Eric and Aaron, they're one and the same. His brother got 6 years, $258 million. First $50 million player in North American team sports. Two brothers negotiated that contract. Aaron and Eric Goodwin. Let's give love and props to those brothers. I'm so proud of y'all. But you look at that. You look at OKC. Paul George was an MVP candidate before he faded a little bit. Love Paul George. And by the way, one of the best people you'll ever meet in your life. Good dude. Russell Westbrook, a bit cantankerous and acerbic, a little bit too much sometimes. But damn it, he never cheats us. And I don't give a damn about his 200 plus million. He deserves every penny. I love Russell Westbrook. Attitude and all. Utah, hell of a job this summer. Hell of a job. Picking up Bogdanovich, that's a huge, huge plus for that franchise. I'm here to tell you, that's a huge plus. I love that pickup. They're going to do some things in Utah. Make no mistake about it. The Clippers. Patrick Beverly, very, very wise to keep them. That's my little brother right there. Got $40 million. I don't know if anybody deserves it more. Blue collar hard worker, over $13 million a year. Defensive wizard, rough hard knocks, never cheat you with effort. Rough rider, ain't scared of a soul. Love Patrick Beverly. It's my little brother right there. I got a special affection for that brother. But you look at it, Portland, Utah, the Clippers, OKC, Houston, you can't ignore. Austin Rivers, re-signed with Houston. Good move on their part to keep him on board. Didn't need Jimmy Butler, you needed him. Not when you got Harden and CP3, you needed Austin Rivers. Good move for him. Golden State, I'm not counting them out. Got my man, Sean, You've got some folks out there talking about they ain't going to make the postseason. I beg to differ. I think the Golden State Warriors are going to make the postseason. D'Angelo Russell is not a bad pickup. There's a chance they'll have 4 All-Stars on the court at the same time. D'Angelo Russell with Klay, Steph, and Draymond at some point in time, with Kevon Looney re-signed and re-up. The Golden State's not winning the championship, but I like their chances for making the playoffs. And Steph Curry is a superstar. Let's not forget that. So we got that going on. Of course, we got the Lakers. We can't ignore that. Pelicans can't be ignored either. David Griffin has done a phenomenal job since taking over as executive VP, president of basketball operations. The man is doing a special job and has an incredible level of credibility and is a good man and knows what he's doing. And is organized and stout and keeping Alvin Gentry, brilliant move. Say what you want about Alvin Gentry. I'm going to say this again, and I said it before. I'm going to say it again. Do y'all remember the job that Alvin Gentry did last year? Forget the wins and losses. How hard he had those boys playing. Why do we say that? The season was sabotaged. Anthony Davis wants out. The Pelicans ownership forces them to limit his playing time, bench him in fourth quarters, or don't play him at all. It was an absolute circus. And Alvin Gentry just continued to coach his butt off. This is 1 year after taking them to the semifinals of the Western Conference playoffs. And now you've got Zion and Ingram and Lonzo Ball. And now JJ Redick is there. You got a sniper who's exceptional at moving without the basketball and launching threes on the run better than anybody in basketball. I mean, literally sprinting to the ball, and in the midst of sprinting, launches threes, and they go in at an over 40% rate. That's JJ Redick, who I religiously believe gets underpaid, with the exception of the 1 year, $23 million deal he had with the Sixers a couple of years ago. He's religiously underpaid. And he's a veteran and trustworthy and reliable. I think JJ Redick's going to do some special things for New Orleans. But I say all of that to say, everything's about Kawhi Leonard right now and where he lands. Because if he lands with the Clippers, they're title contenders. If he lands with the Lakers, it might not even be fair to play basketball games against them. They'd be that elite. Where would you like Kawhi Leonard to go? Where do you think he should end up? And what do you think his arrival at whatever team he joins will truly dictate to the NBA? That's really the story. It really, really is. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less, only at Walmart. We'll get to your calls and more in a minute before having the wonderful Ramona Shelburne on to start off hour number 2 right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, everybody loves summer, except for sleeping in swampy, heat-trapping sheets with no way to get cool, stay dry, and obviously no rest. That's why you need Sheets. Sheets patented sleep tech fabrics breathe 10 times better than traditional cotton sheets to keep you cool. They wick away moisture 3 times more than traditional cotton sheets to keep you dry, ensuring a more comfortable night's sleep. Visit trysheets.com/Stephen A and use code Stephen A to get 25% off your purchase plus free shipping, a bonus pair of pillowcases, and a 30-night risk-free guarantee. That's trysheets.com/Stephen A. Code Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V.
Your radio.
You lost out to Brooklyn. Brett Yormark, Nets. Michael Yormark, Live Nation, Rock Nation. Jay-Z, Juan Perez, Sean Marks, Kenny Atkinson. They built something over there in Brooklyn. I love the Knicks no matter what. No matter how many games the Brooklyn Nets entice me to attend. But talk about exercising in cruelty. How is Spike Lee feeling right now? How is Ben Stiller feeling right now? I mean, it's gotten to a point where, my God, what are you going to do to us next? Just stab us in our chest? Don't even try to hide it no more? I mean, this is so epically bad. And if you're going to sign Julius Randle, did it have to be for $21 million? I thought you weren't doing anyone but 1 or 2 year deals. You signed him a 3-year deal. 3rd year is a team option. So I guess that's a great thing. But I'm just saying. Did you have to announce it that day? John, look at me. Did it have to be announced yesterday? You couldn't wait till the day? How is it that minutes after losing out on KD and Kyrie, y'all think it's okay to reach an agreement with Julius Randle? It couldn't wait 12 hours? Bobby Portis? It couldn't wait 12 hours? You couldn't wait? This is worse than the New York Knicks going after LeBron James and acquiring an injured Amari Stoudemire.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by new Shell V-Power Nitro plus premium gasoline. Now with 4 levels of defense against gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here with you. Coming at you as I love to do every weekday. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Before I get to the phones, let me just remind y'all, the West is just so interesting. Kawhi, is he going to go to the Lakers or the Clippers? Because from what everybody is hearing, it seems more like it's going to be one of those two teams as opposed to the Toronto Raptors. But as I look at the Western Conference, Nurkic is back. Plus Portland acquired Hassan Whiteside, who will be a lot better, in my opinion, now that he's out away from the distractions that exist in South Beach. He just wasn't made for that place. He's not disciplined enough as far as I'm concerned. Portland can't be underestimated. The Clippers can't be underestimated, especially if they get Kawhi. They're a championship contender. The Lakers are the Lakers. Sacramento can't be summarily dismissed. They were battling for an 8th seed, a final playoff spot last season. I expect them to take a leap. But the team that I'm looking at right now is the Utah Jazz. I brought up Bogdanovich and how I think he's a plus. Him with Joe Ingles, they could do some things. You got Donovan Mitchell, who's an absolute stud, and I love him. But then you picked up Mike Conley. You still got Rudy Gobert, who had 306 dunks last season, the most in the NBA. So imagine how many dunks he's going to have this upcoming season when you're able, if you're Quinn Snyder, the coach, to put 4 perimeter dudes on the court. Just think about that. So I'm looking at it from that perspective, and I'm like, my goodness, this stuff is getting real hectic. Utah's formidable, man. Utah cannot be ignored. And I'm just of that mindset. Right now, it's all getting very interesting. I'm just looking at it. I'm seeing it for what it is. Pay attention. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's go to Eric. You're live, Stephen A. What's up, babe?
Yo, what's up, Stephen A? Big fan, man.
All right, talk to me.
I just want to know, I know where you said you want Kawhi to end up, but where do you think, if you was him, where he go? Where do you think he's going to go?
I think he is probably going to go to the Lakers. I do not know. I definitely think it's the Lakers or the Clippers. Right now, I think the Lakers have the edge, but I don't have a damn clue. I don't know. All I know is that you hear different things. You hear that it's probably leaning towards the Lakers. We'll see.
All right, thanks, man.
No problem. Let's go to Dan. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Dan?
Hey, Stephen A. How you doing? I've been hearing that the Raptors are now up in the fire contract, and the Lakers are going to give Kawhi 4 years. Do you think he might resign with the Raptors if it's a fire contract?
I don't think he's going to resign with the Raptors. My personal opinion is that he doesn't resign with the Raptors. But with Masai Ujiri, you can never completely and utterly rule him out. You can't underestimate
all right.
anything.
Take care of yourself. Have a nice day, Stephen A.
Thank you. Let's go to Jeff. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Stephen A. It's a pleasure. A couple things. I think Kawhi is much better off in the long term going to the Clippers, only because they have a stable bench around him, team around him, where the Lakers are one injury from being, a bottom feeder. If LeBron or AD gets hurt for significant time, I feel like they don't have enough to keep up, where the Clippers definitely do.
So you think Kawhi should go to the Clippers?
I do, personally, just for that reason, because, if Kawhi does get hurt also, he's got a team that can still sustain and maybe make the playoffs. He comes back.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think the Clippers right now without Kawhi is better than the Lakers with LeBron, AD, and Kuzma?
Ooh, I mean, if healthy, no. But,
Well, they are healthy at the moment.
Yeah, right now, yes. Okay, yes. The Lakers. I think those two superstars, with like you said, anybody are dynamic. But their history, especially AD's history, doesn't show that they're going to play, 70 or more games in a season. LeBron's getting a little older. I think he's an Iron Man. I think he'll be back. He'll be fine. But I do worry that the Lakers just don't have enough around the two. And, I mean, even with Kawhi, you're still an injury away with no bench. I just feel like stability-wise, the Clippers giving a much better chance to win now and in the future because LeBron's not going to be here forever.
Well, this is the thing. LeBron's pitch is, okay, here's the deal. I will definitely leave in about 3 to 4 years, and the franchise is yours. It's yours and AD.
Yeah, and it really comes down to then the general manager, which, as much as everybody wants to give Pelinka his due, that trade wouldn't have happened if Pelicans didn't fire their GM in the first place because he didn't want nothing to do with helping Rich Paul out. And as soon as Griffin got in power, the trade went through. I think Magic would have made the trade just as easily if the GM situation was different in New Orleans, for sure. I don't think that was Magic's fault or Pelinka's, really. I think that was the GM of New Orleans didn't want to deal with other circumstances, and it wasn't the Lakers per se. It was the Rich Paul LeBron thing, and so I don't really think. I think the Clippers are much more stable long term. GM owner, the owner wants to win. He's got the money. He'll spend it. I know the Lakers have some capital, but they definitely don't have what the Clippers do.
I got you. Well, actually, they do because you have to remember that everybody's got to spend the same amount of money. All right, you got a cap, and then not only that, you got to spend 90% of it. And so you got to take that into consideration. And not only that, like say, for example, the Miami Heat just worked out a sign and trade for Jimmy Butler. The Warriors in the process working out a sign and trade for D'Angelo Russell, et cetera, et cetera. According to league rules, they now operate under a hard salary cap because when you acquire a player via a sign and trade, you cannot exceed the cap at all. So you have to remember, a lot of times it doesn't matter how rich your owner is because there's only but so much he's allowed to do legitimately, legally, according to NBA collective bargaining bylaws. There's only but so much he's allowed to do. So you got to take that into consideration and understand, with that in mind, the Lakers are in every position to do just as much for their franchise as Steve Ballmer is in position to do something for his franchise. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Jim. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Jim?
Hey, Stephen A., great talking to you.
Talk to me.
Here's my comment. I believe fully Kawhi is staying in Toronto. Maybe on a 1, maybe on a 1 and 2.
You could be right. You could be right. I don't know, but you could be right.
And here's why. I think that, number one, he it's hard to believe he'd walk away from all that love, the championship, to defend that title. I think that doesn't make a lot of sense. Number two, he can wait and play, as everybody said. He gets his 2 years, his 10-year service. Then he can maybe end up at the Lakers or the Clippers. That's what I believe, and nobody's talking me out of that until he signs on the dotted line.
Yeah, we'll
see. My question is,
go ahead.
If that happens, can the Raptors, assuming they get out of the East, which I think they will, but assuming they do, can they beat the Lakers? Because the Clippers aren't going to be there. I don't know about the other teams, Denver perhaps, Oklahoma, I'm not thinking, but it sure looks like it's going to be the Lakers with AD and LeBron. So can they beat the Lakers?
Well, the Raptors as a team, if they keep Kawhi, could potentially beat anybody but a three-headed monster. I believe if Kevin Durant hadn't gone down, the Raptors would have lost in 5. I think Golden State would have smoked them. But the reality is that Kevin Durant was not healthy. And then after that, Klay went down. He missed game 3, was playing pretty much on one leg ever since. He certainly wasn't himself. And I think the combination of that, the injury to Kevon Looney, and how hobbled he was, etc., it just all spelled doom for them. They couldn't catch a break anywhere. It literally got to a point in game 6 of the NBA Finals that the Golden State Warriors didn't even want to play anymore because they were scared about who else would get hurt. They thought that some black cat was running around, for crying out loud. They were scared that somebody else would get hurt. That's how bad it got. They're like, who's next?
And I was disappointed. I would have liked to see the full repertoire of weapons and
All of us.
see what the Raptors would have ended up doing.
All of us would like to see that. No question about it. Appreciate the call. Jay, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Steve, what's good, man? This Jay from North Carolina by way of Queens, man. Just to touch on that Kawhi and the Toronto thing real quick. LA acting like they really don't consider Kuzma as a big three. So why, if Toronto think about, man, let me do the sign and trade with Kawhi and Kuzma, they can get something back. I don't know if that can work, but I'm just shouting that out.
Well, first of all, why would Toronto want to do that? Who says they'd want Kuzma? You've got Siakam, you've got Anunoby coming back, you still got Gasol and these boys there. What I'm saying to you is that if you look at their team in place, Kuzma doesn't help you out at all. You might be better off losing Kawhi, creating some space and rebuilding, which Masai has shown the ability to do.
Okay, that sounds good. I just didn't know how could that work. But I'm a long-time Knicks fan like you, man. Me and you the same age. I go back from Ray Williams, Michael Ray Richardson going against Gus Williams and Dennis Johnson. And by the way, Dennis Johnson should be on that list with Kareem, Kawhi, and LeBron, because I think DJ might have been the first to go from the West to the East and win championships in both of them. I believe he might have been like that.
Go ahead, real quick.
But shout out to Scott. He did the right thing how he did and conserved that money, even though we missed out. But our money is secured and taken care for years to come. He cleaned house. He got a clean slate. So it's up to him to make everything right.
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Scott who?
Scott Perry.
Oh, gotcha.
He did the right thing, by saving our money. Even though we
they sign other players and what have you, and they got guys to 1 year deal, 2 year deals. Julius Randle, a 2 year deal with a partial guarantee on the third year, etc. I get it, but I ain't trying to celebrate nothing about the Knicks right now. They lost out on 2 stars who picked Brooklyn over Broadway. That's an indictment. I don't care what anybody says, but I'm rooting for them. I'm still a Knicks fan, but I'm not going to root against the Nets either. Sean Marks and Kenny Atkinson have done a fabulous job. And Yormark and those boys and Prokhorov and those guys, I mean, they've done an outstanding job building an organization, and the Nets are clearly heading in the right direction. And major props to them. I got to get on out of here, Jay. I appreciate the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Back with more on your calls in a minute before Ramona Shelburne comes on to start off hour number 2. By the way, if you missed my opening segment, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast. That tells you that players swear by him. Who's the person that tells you that people that play for him never speak ill of him? Ever. I'm the person that tells you that. His petulance, his pettiness, that annoys me and rakes the nerves of New York Knicks fans everywhere. That's about the only thing we get to say about Dolan. I don't want to look at Steve Mills. I don't want to look at anybody else within Madison Square Garden. I'd like to aim my eye directly in the direction of a James Dolan. But when the man comes on a Michael Kay show on 98.7 FM in New York City and specifically tells you, I don't know anything about basketball. I don't make these basketball decisions. I leave that to the people that I hire. Y'all wanted me out of the way. I got out of the way. I haven't been involved since interfering in making sure that we honored our commitment to Carmelo Anthony. He didn't use those words, but that's basically what happened. Because they had promised Carmelo Anthony they were going to get him to New York a year earlier before he left Denver. See, these are inside tips y'all don't know about. The fact of the matter is, when he sits there and he says that he's left it to Steve Mills, when he says that he's left it to Phil Jackson, when he says that he left it to Isaiah Thomas, when he says that he's left it to all of these folks, aren't we missing the boat if we point the finger solely in his direction? Especially when what he's most known for is playing his guitar with his band. And ladies and gentlemen, by the way, they don't get paid. They pay people to let them perform. That's how bad it is. I think in one story I read, the band was paid $200. Ladies and gentlemen, vagrants on the street collect more than $200. And the band of a billionaire, that's all they can muster. If that don't put stuff in perspective, I don't know what the hell would.
Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
From the Seaport District at Pier 17, brought to you by Chase. Plus, Golick and Wingo will be live Monday, July 8th from Cleveland, Ohio for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Brought to you by Marathon. Marathon, fueling the American spirit. Let's get back to the phones before we end hour number one and bring Ramona Shelburne on to jumpstart hour number two right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's go to Jacob. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Jay.
Hey, Stephen A. I want to know what you think about the Atlanta Hawks, their ability to move up to number 4 in the draft, and what it means for them going forward.
Let me tell you something. I like the Atlanta Hawks. I love the fact that they drafted Cam Reddish out of Duke, even though I thought that he came up short in terms of his potential last year. I like him a lot. I love the fact that they moved up and got New Orleans pick at number 4, which New Orleans had gotten in the Anthony Davis trade from the Lakers. And they drafted DeAndre Hunter because he was definitely a top 5 talent in the draft. He's a national champion. The same Virginia Cavaliers that got knocked out, the first number 16 overall, the first number 1 seed in NCAA history to get knocked off by a 16th seed the year before without him, won a national championship team with him the next year. DeAndre Hunter's the real deal. I like him a great deal. I also like the fact that they acquired Allen Crabbe in the trade. Here's my problem with the Atlanta Hawks. I understand that it's not a marquee market, but it is a mosaic. You got a whole bunch of people that love themselves some ATL, and I don't understand for the life of me why they're never a player in free agency. I don't understand for the life of me why they can't go out and attract a marquee talent to come to their franchise. They're clearly hell-bent on building through the draft, building with young players and free agency stuff, but Dwayne Dedman and Vince Carter are not exactly my examples of marquee individuals that's going to propel this franchise to new heights. They're incredibly likable guys with talent that gives you a reason to support them, but I'm not sure it's anything else right now. And so for me, I would like to see Atlanta step up and get some more marquee names. All right?
Well, Stephen A., what I think is Atlanta Hawks is more of like a next generation basketball franchise. Like, I think in the next 5 to 10 years, when we start seeing guys who are coming through the college ranks now, we'll see more kids that want to play for Atlanta and stuff like that.
Well, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. They all clearly want to live down there. I don't know why they don't want to play down there.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying.
Before I go
ahead.
With the New York Knicks drafting R.J. Barrett, number 3 overall, do you not have faith in that franchise to win at least 35 games this season?
Not yet.
And if so,
not yet.
Who do you think will be the next key primary player next to R.J. Barrett?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I like Julius Randle. He's an upgrade, but I don't think he's going to be some stud that's going to deliver you victories. It's not a negative. He's not going to hurt the franchise, but how much he's going to help, I think, is a question mark. That's just how I feel. And when I look at the New York Knicks right now and R.J. Barrett, I like him, but I wish that he was a bit more ambidextrous. He tells me he's right-handed, but I almost never see him use it. And I certainly don't see Julius Randle using his right. As far as I'm concerned, they should be called the progressive Knicks. All they'll go is left. They ain't going right. They going left. But that's just me. Anyway, hour number 2 up next. Ramona Shelburne will be in the house. Can't wait to talk to her. Be back with more in a minute.
The Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 888-SAY ESPN is always the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save pay an average of $699 less per year. As promised, on the line with me right now is NBA insider and analyst extraordinaire. Does a great job for ESPN. You can see a lot of times on The Jump on ESPN, hosted by Rachel Nichols. Obviously, you can catch her on SportsCenter. You certainly can see her work written all over ESPN.com and specifically ESPN LA. The one and only Ramona Shelburne is on the line with yours truly right now. Good morning out there. Good afternoon out here. Ramona, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
First of all, are you okay? Because you gotta go back and forth between the Clippers and the Lakers, and even though they both play in the same arena, their offices ain't in the same arena. What's life been like for you with this Kawhi Leonard watch?
Man, it's interesting because the way that both franchises are behaving throughout this whole process, and I would say the whole season, but really it's been since the end of the season, and they both started focusing in on free agency. Is almost reflective of their pitch to Kawhi, and it's going to determine whatever he wants, right? Like the Clippers, in a way, are trying to position themselves as the blue-collar, hard-working, no-drama franchise, and the Lakers are have Magic Johnson and LeBron James out in front, trying to close pitch and showtime like they always do, and it's almost against the grain for them to be pitching to try to keep things with no drama, but that's the Lakers' effort so far. And I actually think they've done a fairly decent job of controlling the league. The only guy who's really kind of been out there publicly is Magic, and that's because he's allowed to, and also it's his essential nature. But nobody really knows what Kawhi Leonard is going to want, because I don't think anybody knows how this championship affected him. Right? Everything you would think, covering him, profiling him, knowing him, reading him, leading into this free agent process, everything might not be what it seems, and we'll find out the next couple of days, obviously, when he makes his choice.
Ramona, when we think about the Toronto Raptors, they are the reigning defending NBA champions right now. We look at a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who was the NBA Finals MVP and well-deserved. In the same breath, ESPN ain't even out. I mean, you got to have DirecTV. ESPN ain't even aired in Canada, for crying out loud. They got TSN, for crying out loud. You got one of them situations, if your New Balance, the sneaker company, the sneaker company's got to deal with. They would like him, from all the reports that you hear, that they would love him in LA. Talk to us about Kawhi Leonard and his Southern California roots and how palpable that is in all of this for a second.
So Kawhi Leonard is from Southern California, but it's not like he's from Santa Monica, okay? He is from the Inland Empire, went to school out in Riverside. So that's about an hour and a half east of downtown Los Angeles. And it's a little like Paul George. Paul George was from Palmdale, which is an hour and a half north and east. So these are suburbs of Los Angeles. And he doesn't live in Los Angeles. Anthony Davis lives out here in Westlake Village. That's where Charlie Sheen lives. That's a little bit north of where the Kardashians live. Kawhi Leonard, he lives in North County, San Diego, which is not that far actually from. It's not that far from where he grew up. If you're going from Riverside down to San Diego, that's not that long of a drive. But it's not L.A., and I think that's the most important part. It's not L.A. He would have grown up watching Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, and my understanding is he's a pretty big Kobe Bryant fan. That was his guy growing up, but that's kind of his MO. It's not necessarily it's not like he grew up like Baron Davis here in the heart of the city, or Russell Westbrook. So I think the LA of it all is more about his family, and everyone I knew from Kawhi's side, going into this, if you're around him, he has a big family. He's close with a lot of people. That was the whole impetus for wanting to be in Los Angeles. He's a family guy. He wants to be around everybody. But again, a couple of things happened at the end of the season that I think threw a lot of people off and a lot of plans off, which is namely they won. Kawhi Leonard won. And, we don't know how that's going to affect him. What does he have to prove? I mean, the profile of Kawhi was he wanted his own team. He wants to compete against the best. He's more of that Giannis Antetokounmpo type, the Kobe Bryant profile, which is you don't join the Super Friends teams. You go against them and you dethrone dynasties. But he's now done that twice. And he's got a body that really needs to be managed for 60, 70 games every year.
I got you. But if that's the case, Ramona, how did LA, even once they got LeBron, becoming the sights. Because remember, he was in San Antonio and his preference was to get traded to the LA Lakers. It wasn't until he arrived into Toronto that we started hearing more about the Clippers. So how has it come to a point where right now we're looking at the Los Angeles Lakers, and for the longest we thought it was going to come down to Toronto and the Clippers, but now the Lakers are in the mix in a significant manner. How did that happen?
So I think that's the most interesting part of this is that a couple of weeks ago, Stephen A., I literally laughed at one of my producers who was pushing the Laker option. I was like, come on. Everything that you know about Kawhi Leonard is that he wants to beat LeBron, not join LeBron. And we might be wrong. Like, that profile, that idea that we thought we knew about him, that might be wrong. And it's kind of surprising, but my understanding is we would not be in this position with Kawhi Leonard talking to the Lakers, seeking information about the Lakers, if he wasn't cool with LeBron. LeBron has been recruiting him hard this entire time, and he has respect for him. It's surprising, right? Because you think that you understand somebody, but maybe he's changed. Maybe he's not what we all thought he was. And frankly, like, if there's one guy that we can say maybe he's not who we thought he was, it would be Kawhi Leonard, because he doesn't say anything the whole time.
We're talking to Ramona Shelburne right here with Stephen A. on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. The name Magic Johnson still comes up, and here's the deal. Magic Johnson resigned abruptly on the night of the season finale inside the Staples Center. We all know that story. Thereafter, he comes on national television on First Take and accuses Rob Pelinka of betraying him, validating reports both you and I and others alluded to on several occasions leading up to his public acknowledgement of that situation. Jeannie Buss says she needed to be more firm with her decisions, can't be everybody's friend, can't be everybody's family member. Thereafter, the Lakers acquire Anthony Davis. And just a few days ago, when Kawhi Leonard was contemplating his future, we learned that he wanted to speak to the Lakers, but it was going to be Jeannie Buss and Magic Johnson before the league informed the Lakers that Magic Johnson would not be allowed to be in the meetings. With all of that stuff that has happened, one would ask, do you think Kawhi would have already committed to the Lakers if Magic Johnson was still in his position? And Magic Johnson not being in that position, what kind of damage, if any at all, do you think that does to the Lakers in this situation?
Well, my understanding, and I talked to Magic the other day on when he said Kawhi had reached out and wanted to connect with him, and then again over the weekend after they spoke, was he's been very involved with Kawhi ever since he stepped down. Okay, this is a relationship that Magic has nurtured. And I don't know if it's directly with Kawhi or with Kawhi's camp, but I think Magic plays a role in this, in that he seems to be the one that Kawhi's camp wants to lean on and trust and get information out of. I don't know if that's, literally it's Magic Johnson and that's who you talk to, that's who you trust. Or if maybe him stepping down and saying, I'm going to give you the real, okay, I'm a Lakers fan, but obviously I stepped down because I had issues with Rob. It's kind of hard to say if that's going to help or hurt him yet until we know if he decides, okay? But he clearly relies on Magic and his opinion. He values his opinion. He thought it out. And Magic is, probably the best person I've ever seen in a room. But you're pretty good in a room too, Stephen. I've seen you work a room when we do upfront presentations and all that. But Magic's pretty darn good at working a room. So, if anyone could overcome that obstacle, it might be him. The understanding I had after speaking to him the other day, after his message and what he tells Kawhi and his camp about the Lakers, is simply, you have to develop a relationship with Jeannie Buss. And that Magic's always going to be the big brother. If anything, Magic's probably more free to be the big brother and be involved now because he can say a lot more when he's not in this role. But you've got to feel good about the organization and your relationship with ownership in order to make a leap like this.
Where do the Clippers go in all of this, Ramona Shelburne? Because I say that to you in all honesty with this in mind. The Clippers have always been of the mindset, as you well know, that there's no way in hell Kawhi is going to pick them over the Los Angeles, that's going to pick the Lakers over them. They believe they're a better organization. They believe his personality is of such that he would certainly prefer them as opposed to the circus kind of atmosphere that some people may deem existing with the Los Angeles Lakers. That has never been his MO. That doesn't appear to be the case. It doesn't appear to be on the money, but he hasn't made a decision yet. And the Clippers seem very firm and confident and resolved in their belief that he would pick them over the Lakers. If he were not to pick them, it would be because of the Raptors, not the Lakers. What do you make about the Clippers' position in all of this?
It's fascinating, right? It's a fascinating case study in personality because they are so convinced that who they are is the perfect fit for who Kawhi Leonard is. What we just don't know is how winning that second championship in Toronto changed him. Did it change him in a way where he says, you know what, I've got to run it back with my teammates and defend our title, in which case he passes on that LA option? Did it change him in the way where he says, I got to load manage myself for the next 4 or 5 years? And what better place to do it than with LeBron James and Anthony Davis? We can be the all load management team. We can all play 65 games a year because there's 3 superstars there. Like, everything that you thought you knew about Kawhi is kind of on the line with this decision right now. And the Clippers are very firm in their belief that they got the right pitch and the right way of going about it, that Doc Rivers in that room, that Doc Rivers as his coach is going to be amazing. He'll trust Steve Ballmer, that Jerry West will be involved here. But it comes down to how well do you know Kawhi Leonard. And I'll say, anybody who tells you they know Kawhi Leonard is fooling you, right? Like, who really knows him? Just a couple of people who work out with him, who know him day to day. Maybe Jeremy Castleberry, who's like his best friend, who sits with him after every game. He's on the Raptors staff.
Yeah.
I guess they know him. But when you're on the outside and you think that you know him, you're just forecasting. You're just guessing. And the only way we're going to find out who he really is and what he cares about the most is when he finally decides. Because there's 3 very distinct choices. It's go be the man in L.A., go be the man in Canada, or go join the super team with LeBron and AD.
Ramona Shelburne right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. If the Clippers don't get Kawhi, considering their recent success, 48-34, first round of the playoffs, the Lakers having missed the playoffs the previous 6 years, none of us anticipate that with LeBron and AD that they're going to miss the playoffs this upcoming season. It almost seems like, I mean, if the Clippers don't get a star now, I think it definitely devastates them. What's your thoughts about that?
You know, they had 3 stars. They had Lob, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this version of the Clippers more than Lob City. I mean, I wanted to enjoy Lob City. I wanted Blake and Chris and DeAndre to get it rolling, and it was fun for a minute. But then they all started turning on each other, and it got toxic, and they were complaining all the time. And, like, last year, they were, like, one of the most likable teams in the NBA. So if they don't have that star, you just keep on that same path you've been on and be the team that pushed the Warriors to 6 games in the first round. It's not what they were planning on. They were gearing up to try to finally get that star who has a great team built around him. But they competed their butt off last year. I mean, that was a team that should have tanked the last 2 years, and they didn't. And it was fun to watch. So, like, I don't know if it devastates them. It maybe devastates Steve Ballmer because he's the one who put a lot of time and resources into it. But Doc Rivers was saying that was the most fun he ever had coaching. I mean, that was the most enjoyable team he's had. So I think they'll be all right. It's just, when you work hard for something and gear up for this one spot for 12 months and don't get them, I mean, we'll see if they get them or not, but that would be disappointing. But I think they're positioned and both emotionally and on the court pretty well.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is because the Clippers had the luxury of succeeding while the Lakers were failing.
That's
but
right.
you don't
That's
expect
right.
it's a totally different animal if the Lakers are successful.
Yeah. Well, look, it's kind of like USC and UCLA out here. UCLA is the basketball squad and USC is the football squad. So there was a minute there where USC football was down, and Jim Mora Jr., remember when he came out and said, we run this town? And it was like, okay, let's see. Here's your chance because USC is down. This is your chance to kind of take over LA and claim it, and they never could. They never got there. And if anything, the sanctions are over. USC's had trouble hiring a coach, yes, but, like, it's still the USC football town. UCLA is always still in the background. And that's just kind of how it goes in certain markets, right? It's like the Mets and the Yankees, it's the Angels and the Dodgers. And when you're the little brother in this equation, when you're the Clippers to the older brother Lakers, like, you only got a couple of shots. Like, I thought Lob City could have done it. Kobe was on the down slope of his career. Lob City could have broken through and won some championships. They didn't do it. So now, you know, if you don't get it done this summer, LeBron and AD they're gonna run for a while now.
Here's a fair question to ask you, because you do a great job covering the NBA. You go to an awful lot of games. You're actively involved with a lot of things. What would you, and I know it's putting you on the spot, but I'm going to ask anyway, what would you prefer to see? A dominant, lopsided team loaded with Kawhi, LeBron, and AD? Or Kawhi competing against LeBron in LA with the Clippers?
Oh, that's a good question, because for a long time, I wanted to see Kawhi on the Clippers competing against LeBron. I thought that would be an amazing head-to-head matchup. Because LeBron has had some great head-to-head matchups over the course of his career, right? LeBron and KD, LeBron and Kobe, but we never really got that LeBron and Kobe showdown in the finals like we wanted, right? So I like head-to-head matchups, but I also, as a journalist and somebody who covers these teams, I root for chaos. I like the circus. So putting three superstars on one team like that and then seeing what happens, that's going to be fascinating.
Well, see, for me, you know why I prefer Kawhi with the Clippers than the Lakers?
Huh.
Because I get 81 great nights of basketball a year at the Staples Center instead of 41.
True. It's a great question. Like, I like the Clippers and their organization. I really like a lot. Doc Rivers to me is one of the great men in this league, and I love dealing with him and the team. I love what they did.
Yep.
So, like, there's a part of me that kind of wants to see that rewarded by doing everything right, positioning yourself to be a first-class organization, making the necessary moves, competing instead of tanking. I want to see that rewarded. But then there's a part of me that roots for the drama, too. That's kind of terrible to say, but that's our business, isn't it? We root for the drama.
That's right. Ramona, before I let you get on out of here, just a couple of more questions. Now that KD is in Brooklyn instead of Golden State, and Kyrie is in Brooklyn instead of Boston, how are we to view those two players as of right now, in your estimation?
I'm kind of like with you on this one, Steven. But you on the jump, like, it would have been cool to see him at the Garden. It would have been cool to see him at Madison Square Garden, right? Just trying to take a shot at changing things around for the Knicks. I also would have liked to see how many rings Kevin could win in Golden State. If you want to be in that conversation with Jordan, like, you got to get moving. You only got two, so there's four more to go. And like that Warriors team, they left two on the table in a way, and now who knows if they'll ever get back to that spot again. So how did we view both players? Kyrie looks like they're gone from place to place. Like, to me, Kevin and Kyrie are very similar people in that they're both kind of wanderers. They're both kind of seekers. They haven't really planted their roots down anywhere and grown. I thought Kevin was going to do that in Golden State. I thought Kyrie was going to do that in Boston. So this is, to me, the referendum on both of them of, like, are you a team guy, or are you just going to float? Are you just AAU going to float from team to team? I mean, Kevin went to 3 different high schools. He's on, like, his 3rd or 4th different agent. Like, at some point, and I'm going to steal words right out of Kobe Bryant's mouth, and this is what he said to Dwight Howard when he was trying to convince him to stay in L.A. At some point, you just have to plant your roots and grow. Like, the grass is going to be greener on every other side all the time. And so, wherever you go, it's going to be new problems. At some point, pick your spot. So I hope this is their spot. I hope they grow together. I hope they win. I've enjoyed covering both of them, but, like, at some point, you just can't keep switching teams.
Well, how are we to look at the New York Knicks in light of the fact that two megastars that are champions in the NBA picked Brooklyn over Broadway?
I know. Look, they read this wrong. They didn't think Kyrie had as much sway on this, and I think they thought Kevin would make just his own decision, but they read it wrong. Like, I've heard all along that Kevin wants to play with his friends, and underrated in all of this is his friendship with DeAndre Jordan, his friendship with Kyrie. Like, those guys got together at Team USA. They are really close. They talk all the time during the season. They hang out in the summers in LA. Like the Knicks read was they could be out on Kyrie but still get Kevin, and they read it wrong. They just did. And when they decided they were out on Kyrie, they were pretty much out on Kevin altogether.
Ramona Shelburne, appreciate the great work as always. Looking forward to talking to you again, particularly as we are all on Kawhi watch, no doubt about it. Thank you so much. You take care of yourself.
You got it, Stephen A. Thanks.
All right. Ramona Shelburne does a great job for us. I said the same thing about Brian Windhorst, saying the same thing about her. She's been all over it. She's been on top of it. She does a great job for us right here on ESPN, ESPN.com, The Jump with Rachel Nichols, Sports Center, the list goes on and on. Just a fantastic job on her part. Love talking to her. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back to more of your phone calls and then some in a minute. You're listening live to Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, everybody loves summer, except for sleeping in swampy, heat-trapping sheets with no way to get cool, stay dry, and no rest. That's why you need Sheets. Sheets' patented Sleep Tech fabrics breathe 10 times better than traditional cotton sheets to keep you cool. They wick away moisture 3 times more than traditional cotton sheets to keep you dry, ensuring a more comfortable night's sleep. Visit trysheets.com/Stephen A. and use code Stephen A to get 25% off your purchase, plus free shipping, a bonus pair of pillowcases, and a 30-night risk-free guarantee. That's trysheets.com/Stephen A. Code Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Barbasol. Hey, sports fans. Barbasol is offering you a chance to score big when you join the Barbasol Shave Club. Grab your premium starter kit for just $1. You lost out to Brooklyn. Brett Yormark, Nets. Michael Yormark, Live Nation, Rock Nation. Jay-Z, Juan Perez, Sean Marks, Kenny Atkinson. They built something over there in Brooklyn. They have a level of credibility the New York Knicks have been starving for decades. I'll never abandon New York. I'll always love New York. It doesn't matter whether I'm living here or in LA. I love the Knicks no matter what. No matter how many games the Brooklyn Nets entice me to attend. But talk about exercising in cruelty. How is Spike Lee feeling right now? How is Ben Stiller feeling right now? I mean, it's gotten to a point where, my God, what are you going to do to us next? Just stab us in our chest? Don't even try to hide it no more? I mean, this is so epically bad. And if you're going to sign Julius Randle, did it have to be for $21 million? I thought you weren't doing anyone but 1 or 2 year deals. You signed him a 3-year deal. 3rd year is a team option. So I guess that's a great thing. But I'm just saying. Did you have to announce it that day? John, look at me. Did it have to be announced yesterday? You couldn't wait till the day? How is it that minutes after losing out on KD and Kyrie, y'all think it's okay to reach an agreement with Julius Randle? It couldn't wait 12 hours? Bobby Portis? It couldn't wait 12 hours? You couldn't wait? This is worse than the New York Knicks going after LeBron James and acquiring an injured Amar'e Stoudemire.
Golden State crossed a line that was just sneaky good. They did the sign and trade to get D'Angelo Russell from the Nets.
I know basketball-wise it doesn't fit, but it doesn't matter. Now it's an asset. It's somebody that somebody will want. The smart ones figure out a way to do it when it looks like you have no chance of doing it, and that's what Myers did.
This move is basically Wizards chess, is it not? I love this flex by them. Yeah, we'll get him. It works out great, but we're probably going to move him on anyway, and by doing so, we make sure that he doesn't go to one of our rivals who might be a problem for us going forward.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Need seats to a game? Download the Vivid Seats app and enter promo code CHAMPS at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Don't buy just any seat. Get a Vivid Seat. Back to the phones we go at 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let's go to Cam. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. How you doing?
Hey, Stephen A. Smith. How you doing?
I'm all right. Go ahead.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. First question I have is, with the way the Celtics stand right now and the lack of clarity with the Raptors, where do you see the Celtics finishing up as a seed for this year's playoffs?
Conference semifinals, just like they did this year.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're either going to be a really good team or a Mickey Mouse team.
They've got the potential to be either or, but the bottom line is that if you had the best, and listen, they could get to the conference finals, they could get to the finals, or they could get bounced out in the first round based on how things unfold. Bottom line is that the safe bet is conference semifinals. Good enough to be one of the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference and get past the first round. But then after that, potentially running in a Toronto squad with Kawhi Leonard, potentially running into the Greek Freak again, potentially running into a Philadelphia squad that might be a bit better, and a better version of the Milwaukee Bucks, because they'll have Embiid, they'll have Simmons, but you've added Al Horford to the mix. You retained Tobias Harris and what have you. And obviously when you look at it from that perspective, they've got some length. They've improved defensively, and one's got to believe that Philadelphia is incredibly formidable. And let's not ignore Josh Richardson coming from Miami. No, he's not a sniper. He's not a long-range shooter. That's not what he does, even though he has the potential to make shots. But my God, can he defend? And so when you look at what he gives you as a defensive player in the backcourt, combined with that length that Philadelphia now has on its front line defensively, not to mention somebody in Horford who not only can play with Embiid, but can spell for Embiid. And as a result, he can be somebody that's playing games that Embiid is out because of load management or legitimate injuries, or he could be subbing for Embiid, or he could be playing alongside Embiid. You look at all of those different things, and there is no question that the Philadelphia 76ers have upgraded significantly on the defensive side of the ball, and I think that makes them the favorites to come out of the East.
One more question, Stephen A. So real quick, I want to mention that I completely agree how unacceptable it is how the Knicks have handled free agency this year. Honestly, I wanted to get your opinion on something. Would you think bringing back Stephen Marbury, Phil Jackson, and Carmelo Anthony for a redemption tour and to provide leadership for the team,
hey, Cam,
would it be beneficial?
Goodbye. Have a nice day. A redemption tour in the NBA. What the hell is this? It's the stupidest thing I've heard. You were doing fine until you had idiotic suggestion. Please. Ernesto, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A. Thanks for having me. I have heard rumblings about Kawhi only down to Lakers and Raptors because the Clippers, he saw what the Clippers did to Blake Griffin, making him the man and then trading him away. And that's what I heard, that he's basically making a decision on.
He heard what? The Clippers what?
The Clippers, what they did with Blake Griffin, giving him this contract and then trading him away. And that's affected his decision on not choosing the Clippers.
So in other words, Kawhi may not come to the Clippers because of Blake Griffin.
Because he's looking at the loyalty of the front office. So this is what he's making his decision on. It's basically on the front office and how can he trust the front office.
And who? And I'm not asking any names, but in terms of the quality of your sources, who are they?
I mean, just
no. You're the one that sat up there and said you heard. So who you heard it from?
For people in LA. I just hearing from people in LA.
They were hanging in LA Live at Shaq's Restaurant Fleming's, Yard House. They were at Venice Beach, or they were out on Sunset Boulevard at Boa or something. I mean, where you hear this?
I'm just hearing it based on his. That's what I heard because he's making a decision based on the front office, loyalty, and all that stuff. Loyalty. He's really testing all these three teams.
Blake Griffin. I got you. I appreciate the call, man. Have a nice day. Let's go to Michael. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Michael?
Hey, Stephen A. How are you?
I'm all right. Talk to me.
I just wanted to ask you, after the way the Bucks season ended this year, what do you think is going to happen with them this year? You think they'll make it far again in the postseason?
After what happened, what?
After what happened this year where they lost to the
Well, I think they'll make the postseason because I think the Greek Freak is legit, but I think losing Mirotic and Brogdon are huge losses. I got to tell you, during that Toronto Raptors series, I thought Brogdon was their second best player. I thought he was the only playmaker. And I thought that Rich Paul for Clutch Sports deserved a boatload of credit for getting the Eric Bledsoe that $70 million he got him, because after watching that series, Eric Bledsoe's lucky he got that much money. I got to tell you that. So for me, I look at it from the perspective that when you look at a guy like Brogdon, who's now going to be in Indiana, you know what? If I were the Milwaukee Bucks, you know what? I know you have to give that money to Middleton. I get it. I think it's a mistake they lost Brogdon. I think they took a huge step back. Mirotic is not their fault. He wanted to go back to Europe. They made him the highest paid player in the history of Europe, man. You know, I mean, and that's where he's from. So I can't knock that, wanting to go home, wanting to be with your own countrymen, whatever, playing in Europe, rather closer to home, and you still the highest paid, like 170 million euros, whatever the hell that number is. I mean, you can't blame the Milwaukee Bucks for that. But in the case of Brogdon, got to find a way to take care of him. And they didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate the call. Gavin, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
How you doing?
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so everyone's been talking about the Knicks, and you're saying that those aren't good signings, the Taj, the Julius Randle.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, listen, they're not a worse team. You know, they're not a worse team. You got Taj Gibson. You got Julius Randle. You got Bobby Portis. You got Wayne Ellington, all right? You got Elfrid Payton. I get all of that. My position is that's a hard pill to swallow when you were holding out hope for Kevin Durant.
I feel you.
That's all I'm saying. It's like, I'm not trying to sit, and this is what I want people to understand. I am not trying to sit here and tell you that the New York Knicks are a worse team than they were Sunday. I'm not trying to tell you they're not moving in an appropriate direction. I'm not trying to tell you that they're not exercising prudency. I'm not doing any of that. What I am saying to you is, when you are the New York Knicks, when your franchise is one of the top two franchises in all of basketball, meaning worth about $5 billion, when you've got all of that going for you, okay, you're supposed to be the top brand in the media capital of the world. It's not about losing KD and Kyrie. It's that you lost them to Brooklyn. It's that another team in one of the 5 boroughs who really wasn't relevant in Brooklyn until about 5 years ago when they moved from East Rutherford. They've come over to Brooklyn, and in a span of 5 years, they have done what you haven't been able to do in at least a quarter century, if not more. That's what I'm saying. When you talk about attracting a superstar, they picked Brooklyn over Broadway. That is the ultimate indictment. I don't want to hear the announcer at Madison Square Garden ever again say the world's greatest arena, the world's most famous arena. I don't want to hear that no more. I don't want to hear it. It's over. The stars, the marquees that circulates around that big jumbotron off of 7th Avenue, Fashion Avenue, Madison Square Garden, that is nothing. While the Brooklyn Nets at the Barclays Center can have Kyrie and KD, who, by the way, is bed-stricken with an Achilles tear we're talking about here, and still he can be the marquee. You gave us Julius Randle. Now, you can look at the team, and when the season starts, if you're winning your share of games and all of that stuff, that's fine. You lost out. You're no longer the brand. From a branding perspective, you lost your luster. You have damn near evaporated, disintegrated before our very eyes. That's the point. I'm not here to tell you that Steve Mills and Scott Perry and David Fizdale don't know what they're doing. That's not what I'm saying. I would never say that about those brothers. I am saying that they came up short in recruiting. And they did so to Brooklyn. And that might have been because of the specter of James Dolan hovering over Madison Square Garden and his entire franchise. It might very well be that, but damn it, it's something. And all their hands are dirty in this. Period. There's no way around it. That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying.
I'm liking what the Knicks are doing, though. I'm liking the hustle.
Nobody is. Listen, you can like what they're doing. And guess what? I like it come October and November. I like it if I see them winning basketball games. Fine. But right now, two champions who are marquee names picked Brooklyn over Broadway. You have any idea how bad that is?
That's bad.
It's bad. That's all I'm saying. Brooklyn over. Don't get caught up in basketball. Listen, nobody's saying the Mills and Perry and especially Scott Perry. Nobody's saying these guys don't know what they're doing. Nobody's accusing them of that. And I get the direction that they're going in. Just keep looking at it this way. Brooklyn over Broadway. Where do you think people going to show up to watch basketball, bro?
Brooklyn now?
Brooklyn. That's all I'm saying. And that's the indictment. That's the indictment. That's the indictment. Appreciate the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back with your calls to close out the show in a minute. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Quote, buy and save on home insurance with Progressive's new Home Quote Explorer. Only at Progressive.com.
You got to show play.
Who's the person that tells you that players swear by him? Who's the person that tells you that people that play for him never speak ill of him? Ever. Ever. I'm the person that tells you that. His petulance, his pettiness that annoys me and rakes the nerves of New York Knicks fans everywhere. That's about the only thing we get to say about Dolan. I don't want to look at Steve Mills. I don't want to look at anybody else within Madison Square Garden. I'd like to aim my eye directly in the direction of a James Dolan. But when the man comes on a Michael Kay show on 98.7 FM in New York City and specifically tells you, I don't know anything about basketball. I don't make these basketball decisions. I leave that to the people that I hire. Y'all wanted me out of the way. I got out of the way. I haven't been involved since interfering in making sure that we honored our commitment to Carmelo Anthony. He didn't use those words, but that's basically what happened. Because they had promised Carmelo Anthony they were going to get him to New York a year earlier before he left Denver. See, these are inside tips y'all don't know about. The fact of the matter is, when he sits there and he says that he's left it to Steve Mills, when he says that he's left it to Phil Jackson, when he says that he left it to Isaiah Thomas, when he says that he's left it to all of these folks, aren't we missing the boat if we point the finger solely in his direction? Especially when what he's most known for is playing his guitar with his band. And ladies and gentlemen, by the way, they don't get paid. They pay people to let them perform. That's how bad it is. I think in one story I read, the band was paid $200. Ladies and gentlemen, vagrants on the street collect more than $200. And the band of a billionaire, that's all they can muster. If that don't put stuff in perspective, I don't know what the hell would.
Was presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Coming from where I'm from in the house. If you missed any of the show today, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast, brought to you by the Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% at grocery stores, and 1% on all other purchases. Hey, what's in your wallet? Back to the phones we go before we get on out of here for the day as we continue our Kawhi Leonard watch. Where's he going to go? LA Lakers, LA Clippers, or stay in Toronto? Ian, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, go.
Hey, Stephen A., how are you, brother?
I'm all right. Go ahead, man.
Hey, quick question. Well, I have two comments for you.
Hurry up. Just hurry up. Go.
Okay. My first comment is I think that I think that Durant and Kyrie, they just took a safe bet. I'm originally from New York. We all know there's only one team in New York. If you don't make it in New York, you get bounced out, man.
What's the only one team in New York?
It's the Knicks. Everybody knows that.
Goodbye, man. Have a nice day. I'm not taking it. I'm not doing it. Y'all think I'm playing. You think I'm playing. You're not going to sit up here and have the wool over your eyes. We're not doing this anymore. You can't say it's just one team in New York and we all know who it is and it's the New York Knicks when KD and Kyrie are about to land in Brooklyn. That's just an ignorant statement. It's just an ignorant statement and I'm not taking it anymore. We're not going to sit here with the wool over our eyes anymore. The Brooklyn Nets have taken over New York. Now, don't get me wrong. If the New York Knicks find a way to come out there and they win games, and they end up making the playoffs, we got a different discussion. I get that. But right now, and for this offseason, and until the Knicks become respectable again and win games instead of going 17-65, there is a new team in New York City, and they are the Brooklyn Nets. I'm not taking it anymore. We're not going to be able to, we're not lying to New Yorkers no more. We're not doing it. And this is the flagship station for the New York Knicks, and I'm still telling y'all, you cannot have two marquee NBA champions pick Brooklyn over Broadway and then still say there's only one team, it's the New York Knicks. No, I am not lying to my listeners. I will not do it. I'm not doing it. Samaj, real quick, go.
All right. Kawhi going to the Lakers. Great move. Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Shaq. LeBron only playing about 3 more years. It'll be him and AD for the next 8 years in his prime.
Are you ready for this, Samaj?
Talk to me.
That's exactly the pitch LeBron has been making to Kawhi. Whether he's going to go and retire or he's going to choose to go play with his son, assuming that his son, who's very, very gifted from what I'm told, decides to go, is lucky enough to be in the NBA, LeBron's going to probably be gone after 3 more years. So it's going to be AD and Kawhi at the age of 30 handling the Lakers franchise. That is LeBron's pitch to Kawhi Leonard. We'll see if it works. I got to get on out of here, but I will be back in 22 hours. Hopefully we'll have a decision from Kawhi by then, although I doubt it. Peace and love, everybody.
Hey, what's up? It's Will